Hey YouTube, the reason why I'm doing this video is to talk on more about what's really going on with human trafficking, my life, other things that are going on, other things that I have proof of that I have been through and witnessing so many different things that's happening day to day. Um, these people use technology constantly, um, but the way they use it is in like a spell casting way. Um, the technology that they're using, they want to be an authority over a lot of people, so they're trafficking, human trafficking of whole families. Your mom, your sisters, your brothers, your cousins, your aunties. They're doing massive trafficking. How they're allowed to get away with it is through you being in a simulation state. Um, you're in simulation. You're like stuck, where you can't move, you can't combat them, you can't fight them. You think that you're home, so you think that you're dealing with your children, you think that you're dealing with your family, you think that you're, sleeping with your husband, while your husband and you are going through pretty much the same thing, probably, and he's probably next to you somewhere going through that, and you're where you're at going through it and stuff like that. And this is constantly going on. I can honestly tell you, I remember these people playing video recordings of my family members having sex to let me know that, yeah, we got your family members, and we doing this to them, and to make sure that I wouldn't disregard it. I was being raped and everything, and they were telling me how they were raping my children, and my children kept calling my name, and there was nothing I could do about it. To coerce this type of behavior, they try to bakerate you. So they pick you up for no reason, but the environment that they're having you in and doing all this stuff to you is a controlled environment. It's controlled strictly by them. There is no government authority according to them. There is no courts according to them. There is no nothing according to them. But when they come pick you up, they're picking you up with law enforcement. So you're seeing uniforms of law enforcement officers and everything. You're seeing them pretend to be federal agents. You're seeing them pretend to be CIA, FBI, all of this different stuff. All of this is to coerce you to just, go along with whatever. But the thing about it, when you begin to fight back, when you begin to, you know, begin to fight, you go like in a paralyzed state where you can't really combat them. Like, you can't really fight them the way you want to fight. So you go into that type of state, or either you end up blank completely out. So you're going through being blacked out. I remember inmates used to have a blackout box that was in high maximum security prisons. This was allowed to go in because it was supposed to keep the officer safe. Imagine that type of blackout box in a human trafficking environment. That's what's taking place. That's what's actually happening. A lot of it is them lying. They will remove your children from you. You won't have access to your children because of them. So you thinking your daughter is with your auntie the whole time your daughter is suffering rape, or with your uncles. Your daughter may be suffering rape and you don't know, or your aunties are getting images that your daughter is with them, but she's not really with them. It's a lot of stuff going on, and it really ties your hand where you can't really combat it because you don't know how to tell people what's really going on, and tell them like this is what's really happening with me. This is what I'm dealing with, as far as with family. You try to divulge the information that you know, because I know that they don't know that they're being raped, because I can tell you from personal experience, I was dating for years. And the guys that I was dating, I know that they had no idea that they were being raped as well as me, and I had to go through this, like, where they actually showed me, look, we don't care about raping you. We don't care about what we do to you. After multiple rape reports, they still didn't care. It's a difference when you're not reporting and you don't know that this stuff is happening to you. But when you start reporting rape, you would think something is done. Because it's a controlled environment, nothing is done. And then they make sure that they let you know, oh, well, we're raping your cousin, want you to listen to certain stuff that they're doing with them and stuff like that. Sometimes you're hearing kids cry, being abused or whatever. It angers you to the point where you start crying, honestly. It angers you, and the reason why you're so angry and you're so upset is like you want to do something about it and you can't really move to do anything about it. It's not like you can stop them or anything. I remember one time I was just like sitting watching TV. I feel somebody like pull my body down, like just pull my body down. And next thing I know, I'm blanked out and I'm back up watching TV. And I was being raped at that moment. And I could not stop the person from raping me. Sometimes you can feel them raping you, sometimes you can't. These people sit up here, they will feed you feces. You're sitting there, you just minding your own business, eating your food. They snatch your food from you and will feed you feces. They don't care how they damage your body, how they damage you. They feel like, I don't know what they get out of it. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist or nothing, but they feel like they are advancing off of it. They tell you how they raped your daughter in front of you and your son in front of you, and they were screaming for you, and there was nothing you could do because you didn't hear them, or you didn't even know that they were screaming for you. The biggest thing with this situation, because of the illumination and the way things are done, you think that you're actually mentally incompetent at the point where you will actually check into a mental health hospital to get evaluated, which is the worst thing that you can do because that's predator ground. When I say predator, these people begin to prey on you, try to take advantage of you. They begin to try to bakerate you for no reason, because you are at that stage where you're waking up and you have questions, but you can't go to the people that you thought was safe havens to get the answers. I remember being attacked by the Department of Children and Families. Honestly, my children being removed from my care. No real motive for this. Then they justified it through court, but you say that you really don't have a legal system. You don't have a law enforcement system. You don't have this, you don't have that. Nothing really happens to you all. But I remember being locked up in jail and something's happening to me. I remember a judge ruling on cases and those cases is bothering me. I remember so many things happening to me dealing with the judicial system and legal system and politics and all of this other stuff. But for them, they say there is no law for them. So they can get away with whatever they want to get away with, and I'm former law enforcement, so you know how I personally feel about that. Corrections, Ellie, I feel some kind of way about it, but there's nothing I can really do. Then you have these people impersonating federal agents, and stuff like that. One impersonated a federal agent and gave me an inmate DC number. And I couldn't even believe it. It took me as a state of shock, because the DC number that he gave me, I called the Department of Corrections trying to see what was going on, but he gives me a DC number as a federal agent ID. There is a multitude of things that just happening constantly, and no one doing anything about. I mean, invasion of your privacy. Whatever you do in your house, whether it's masturbation, whatever, having sex with your husband, having sex with multiple partners, whatever you choose to do in your home should be private. It's not. You're dealing with human trafficking situations where your life is broadcasted in ways that you would never put out your personal life. I remember just going through all of this and fearing for my family, and fearing for myself, to the point that I started talking to them and like trying to make agreements and dealing with contract situations, to say, okay, well, hey, I understand you're doing you. Well, I have to protect my people too. So let's talk it out. Let's draw some contracts. Let's see what we can do. Negotiate this thing, or whatever the case may be. All of it is the same BS. It never ends. These people will knock you out unconscious. You will sleep for days for them trying to beat you. To your family, you're one person. But truth be told, you're not really with your family. Some of them will impersonate you. They know your characteristics because they have invaded your privacy. So your children may think that they're doing for you and they're doing for somebody else. And I mean, you probably think your children is pure garbage or whatever. And the whole time your children is trying to take care of you and look out for you and make sure that you're safe. But you don't get that part. You get them impersonating your children because they have invaded your private space. They have studied your children, studied you, so they know your characteristics. They know what you and your children would say and wouldn't say to each other. They know what you and your family would do and wouldn't do for each other. And they manipulate off of that, and use tactics to manipulate off of that. They study you as a group, manipulate off of that. These people are involved in neuroscience. That's the study of the mind, the brain, and all of that. They're involved in that very deeply. They try to connect it to religion. These people know nothing of God. I can honestly tell you, they know nothing of God. The Quran isn't really the Quran. Most of the books from the Catholic Church, they have edited and changed. The Christian Holy Bible is changed. All kinds of stuff. I mean, you will never really get a sound doctrine with religion in here. So you either got to know God way before, because like if you don't really know the word of God, you will lose it in here. Seriously. Because everything is controlled. You will never see money. Like money and wealth, they steal money constantly. Like money, if the government's sending out $2,500 every month, you will never see that. They will make a certain amount of money that they're giving you, like all these millions and trillions and billions of dollars. You will never see it. They steal badly. You may get a U.S. Treasury check It's gonna say $300, and it's way more than that. They still steal. I mean, they will steal with AI, with artificial intelligence. They will steal with anything. The stuff that they have implanted in you is AI technology. It is technology that is very advanced. But what they're doing, not just are they imitating artificial intelligence and artificial intelligent devices, it's still a controlled environment, simulation type environment as well. So they lie about everything. Everything is a lie to them. Like, you will never get the truth. And the reason why you'll never get the truth is to keep you in a state of confusion. You can't really safeguard yourself from these people. So you may be living with somebody and you're thinking that that's your dad. That's not your dad. You may be sitting up there doing for somebody and you're like, oh, this my dad, or whatever the case may be, and it's not. It's them. It's their people trying to receive love and care from you and stuff like that. These people are sick and stuff like that. So much stuff that these people do that lets you know, like, they're sick and they want you sick with them. Honestly, when my children was removed from me, half of the stuff that I heard my mother say in the court of law made me look at her and question her. But then I realized, like, they were like boasting on a SAR frequency, boasting to me, like, I'm sitting here, I gotta constantly hear a guy in my ear rape me sexually, talk down, degrading to me, do all kinds of stuff. I'm constantly hearing that. I'm constantly being called out of my name, degrading, and they think that this is changing my life. Like, this is the reason why I'm not sexually active. This is the reason why I'm this, and this is the reason why I'm that. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, these people are sick. What would make a person think that you would be sexually active when you know that they're raping people? What would make them think that you would want to have sex with anybody, knowing that they'll take you and your husband or your wife and rape them, and sell you off? They will auction you off to be messed with because they have visually saw you and your wife having sex. And this type of stuff, I can't just, outright say to family, because it's so hard to believe, but that it's the truth, that you can't tell them that, look, we've been human trafficked. We are pretty much enslaved. And really, the only way we can somewhat have something, if you work for it. And truth be told, you're working for nothing, because with the cost of living, rent is like $2,000 now, $1,800 or whatever, and you're working a job that they want to only pay you $13 an hour, $15. You're lucky if you get a job that pays $24, $32 an hour. That's just like luck for you, because nowhere really wants to pay you above like $15, $13 an hour, even with a mandate behind it. It's just, it's so much that it's starting to anger me, but I have to maintain my composure and everything, because if I attack somebody or if I fight for myself, only thing that's going to happen, I'm going to end up blacked out or blinded. Like, when you're fighting, when you're in fight mode, it's like your eyes is going all over the place. Like, you really can't see to actually fight one-on-one, they'll like have your, like, it's worse than being blinked out. It's like your vision is like everywhere, where you can't really fight your opponent, and it's so that you won't hurt them. And these are the type of attacks that's happening. And I can honestly say, if you get a corporation or entity, you wake up only a little bit. I'm going to be real with you. You wake up a little bit to it, but we have people that file for corporations and entities that are still held here who are out of it. Like, you don't know what's happening, you don't know what happened or anything. They have put these devices into little children. I remember my son coming home, and he was telling me how the little boys was calling him gay, and he was like, "I'm not gay, you gay," and stuff like that, because in school they were raping little boys in front of other little boys. And this is something that kids are not saying, and they're scared to tell adults, because when they remove your children from you, anybody can come in and pretend to be you, your mom, your auntie, or whoever. And I know this is hard to believe, but this is what people are faced with every day. And the only thing that you can really do in this situation is get up, go to work, come home, maybe do something, like maybe work on like a Khan Academy assignment, or iExcel, or read a book on computer program, something. That's about it. You really cannot combat this thing because of the way that you are and the situation you're in, and they don't want that out. And yes, family can be involved on the opposite side of this. All of them are not just victimized, but some of them are. As far as dating, I don't date. I don't end up in relationships. I can't tell you the first beginning of as well as last month. I go to the hospital. I haven't had sex in 5 years. I go to the hospital. I have a STD. I asked. They didn't even want to write me a prescription. I went to Palm West. I said, "Can you check me for all STDs? Check me for AIDS and everything." They say they can't check for HIV. This is a hospital. They can't check for HIV. They can't check for anything. They didn't want to give me the medication for trichomonia. When they finally assigned the medication a day later, the medication was in the wrong dosage. They had 500 milligrams for 7 days. In order to treat trichomonia, you have to do a 14-day treatment. Just because you higher dosage are not used for that method of treatment to say, okay, I can lower the number of days. No, you still have to do the exact number of days. All this is being done. So I have to get to another doctor to see if it's gone. I don't have health insurance because I refuse to end up incarcerated in prison for no reason at all. That's the reason why I got off of Department of Children and Families Medicare, Medicaid program, because I kept getting threatened. I'm gonna put you in prison. I'm gonna put you in jail. For what? What am I doing wrong? I didn't do nothing wrong. I just used government assistance. And they used that as a way to get me off of government assistance. I was just like, I'm not going to jail, because they had already locked me up and placed me in jail for no reason, been locking me up for no reason in mental health hospitals, doing so many different things to me for no reason at all, just like taking away my rights for no reason at all. And I stopped using it. I was like, forget it. I'm not gonna use it. I'm not gonna go through that. Um they tell you how that's part of the reason why I'm on birth control. I try to make sure I take my birth control, try to make sure I'm doing everything that I can do, because they feel like they can do you like the Virgin Mary. If you're not having sex, you just pop up pregnant. And it is what it is, you know, because you're going through so many different rape situations. My daughter, I don't know if she knows, I have warned them and stuff like that, that they're not, I know they want to date. I know they want boyfriends and stuff like that, and a husband and all that good stuff. That doesn't exist where we are. I know the same thing for my son. He wants a wife, and that doesn't exist where we are. They will spread a man's body the same way they will spread a woman's body, you know. And I don't know how to tell them the truth, you know, how things really are, that they are being raped, and stuff like that. A man can be passed around to a multitude of women. A girl can be, or a woman can be passed around to a multitude of men, because they believe in tribal relationships. Whereas in it's 5 men and 20 women, but these 5 men wanting to date all 20 women type foolishness. I don't know where they get it from, but that's their personality. Talking about their lions and all this stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't know anything really too much about it, but at the same time, it just, strikes me as a little crazy, because they keep trying to take on these animal personas. And, you know, I don't fully understand all of it, but this is what they trying to take on as a persona. Like, if they want to be a pimp, they want to talk about their lion and all this stuff like that. Then even when them being in, even with these people talking about they're part of the church, you walk up in that church, you got to be prayed up before you go in there, and you gonna need an exorcist when you get out of there. It's just that bad. But it's so much going on. Like, our daughter is like, honestly, they're passing out STDs, and their daughter trying to wonder why she's barren and all this stuff like that. They done filled you up with STDs. You're a young woman, you're beautiful. They done filled you up with STDs. That's why you're barren. And even if you're not barren, who wants a house full of kids in this type of situation of being human trafficked? Um, they're doing sex slave type crap and all this stuff right here. Who wants to go through that? So know what you're dealing with. I can't, and this is the thing. I can hear all this stuff. I can know the violations that they're doing to you. It's hard for me to come to you as a person that hears all of this and tell you the truth. So this is the easiest way for me to do it, by coming on YouTube and telling you, look, we are in a human trafficking situation. Our vision's impaired. We're not able to actually move. We're somewhat comatose in a simulation environment, controlled environment, and these people losing us as lab rats. Like the movie Ratatouille, where the little rat was on his head and it was pulling hair and all kinds of stuff to get him to do stuff. This is the same thing that's going on with our brain. These people have studied neuroscience and have found ways to puppeteer us. So if you find yourself sleepwalking at night, honestly, you're not sleepwalking. We're dealing with some dangerous stuff. May God bless you. Look out for you. Hopefully these words encourage you. If not encourage you, at least give you insight to somewhat safeguard yourself. May God bless.